Do you remember the first thing that you ever tried to build?
I think the question is, how far do you want me to go in remembering? Shucks, man. I think the first thing that I tried to build, physically or just build as a business,
As a
maybe
business, for
as a
sure.
business. Yeah. So when I think the computer age was there, and in high school, and my mom bought the software of doing cards,
Oh, wow.
as in gift cards, and I started doing gift cards for people, Valentine's Day, birthdays,
Oh,
and
wow.
designing those cards. So by no far I'm a creative, but PowerPoint was the new thing that time. So yeah, and printing cards, and that's the process of putting something together that people would like, and thinking about, okay, Valentine's is coming, birthdays are coming, promoting yourself, you can do this. So yeah, that's like the one of the first few things that makes money that I can say it was tangible good money. But the first one that really comes to mind, which I really think about, started the spear of my entrepreneurship goal, was when in primary school. I think most of kids, and well, let me not say most, kids from a part where they like to sell things. So I was the kid that used to sell sweets in primary school, different types of sweets. So I always say that one of the biggest advantages about being a teacher's pet or a teacher's favorite child is that you get some perks. And one of the biggest perk I realize is being the first out before break starts means that your store is ready and you get the guys buying from you first.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I could get 5 minutes before the break starts to go out and set up my store, and so that the kids could buy from me first. And that was the biggest advantage about being a teacher's pet, as one would say. So yeah, realizing these opportunities and taking advantage of them, that's what I remember about my first few things.
Yeah. Do you think you're already thinking about how you can create value for the world? I mean, like, just that like break thing is such a small, just like advantage that you are building, so that the kids come to you first, versus like even with the gift cards where you understand the context in which you need to create these things for people, where they will go, okay, yeah, I actually want to get this from him.
I think as a kid, you just think about making that extra 2, right? That extra 5, right? I won't mislead you, man. Value. Those are the things you learned
On the way.
on the way. No. I was thinking about how do I make sure that I outsell faster. Perhaps you could ask. You can say competitor advantage, right? I was looking for those things. What makes you more competitive? What's the uniqueness? And sometimes the uniqueness is not the actual product; it's the process, or it's realizing the gaps in the operation. And that makes you unique. It's how you put things together versus others. But, we all sell sweets, right? We all sell the same types of sweet. We won't mention types of, but lollipop, whatever it is. But because you get that extra 5-10 minutes, you meant that you outsold first, right? And then you could also price up a bit if you wanted to, or be smart, price slightly down so that you sell out first. The trick is that when you sell out first, it means that you have an opportunity to buy more or come back and do something faster. So that's perhaps no value, man, no value. I think value probably the card business, which was followed on by me packaging notes. So when I got to grade 11, grade 12, grade 11, I think definitely grade 11, I realized that I'm good at taking notes. And in science, and taking those notes. And then I had a good friend of mine, best friend at that point in time, because best friends change along the way, right? Which then he used my notes, and he saw an uptake in his marks. And then sort of the word started to, referrals started to spread in the class. If you use these notes, you get better results, So yes, creating value, maybe from that point of view, as saying, actually, I am creating value. People I sold my notes, of course. It wasn't for free. So from a first on point, I realized that time is money, I guess, and then you need to leverage that as best as possible. Ask me if I do that now, it's another conversation, because as you grow, you realize that time is valuable towards the things that you want to do with your family, or giving back, so to speak. But yeah. I sort of give you
So going to, this is grade 11 in primary school, but going into varsity, was our entrepreneurship already still like just the thought process of like, okay, I actually want to build stuff, but what does it look like going into varsity in those like early 20 years?
Yeah, so definitely. I think that taste in the beginning, it's a bug. It bites you, knowing that you can earn your own money at some form. Whether if I close off the high school side, is that we used to walk. I mean, depending if you know South Africa very well, but from Bree to Melville,
Yeah.
it's very far.
It's not very far, but it's walkable.
It's walkable.
It's walkable.
But it saved you a good R5, and
Yeah.
5 is a big amount of currency amount at that time, So realize that saving money by doing other activities was very important. But step into varsity, I've always known that I want to be an entrepreneur. And what a best place. I always tell people that if there's a place for you to test your thinking, is in varsity, because it's a world on its own. You get different walks of people, creatives, thinkers. So in varsity, and started a business in varsity, started a sole business outside varsity. I started a business in varsity called Campus Live. And Campus Live was literally about marketing. And I was an engineering student, mind you. So what prompted me is that I couldn't go to these nice marketing events that happen on varsity. And I was like, as engineers, we are so much studying and writing and, but yeah, it was just, an opportunity. I saw like, wow, okay, cool. How do I get those who can't go to be there, basically? So started that business, Campus Live, which was great because what I realized is that we needed to create value for brands that didn't want to just do marketing, as in hand out flyers and hand out things about their products. They wanted a connection of a community. So what we did at that time, then we created what we call the student games. So each student's different departments would challenge each other, and the varsity winners of those departments would go challenge other varsities.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we got sponsors for it. We got marketing going for it. So I realized that conceptually, you need to create concepts that corporate or business could buy into. So that was one of the businesses that went in my varsity years, and testing it in there was great. Then outside that, then started what we call Soweto Entertainment Magazine.
Oh wow! For an engineer, you really love marketing and media and community.
Yeah, it was funny. It was. I don't know. I just enjoy engaging people and finding different ways of how people can be better at what they do. I guess that's where engineering came from. So Soweto Entertainment Magazine was with a group of friends, 3 of us, and man, I went to some good parties. Nothing beats being behind the camera and getting all access and everything, and met some great artists at that time that were big. I mean, we interviewed a couple of big artists from Soweto. I mean, we focused on Soweto, and it was a print magazine. One thing that taught me was to think ahead. That was when social media was starting to hit, Facebook was starting to come out, all these elements. And we just started, but not realizing that actually the world is moving. So if there's any lesson that I learned there is, yes, start, but also know where the world is going, basically. Yeah.
So when do you start making the connection about, the power of community, creating really great value, and this competitive advantage, to start thinking about what you eventually like really dedicate yourself to?
Yeah. So the connection, what I've realized that most of these entrepreneurship values or entrepreneurship business is when you try to do something, is when you say, let me do this thing because I see there's value in it. So Saving Collective or Stokvels, whatever you want to call them, Africa Charmers, Susus, mostly anywhere in the world, you have this collective power coming together. I tried my own and it failed. So first attempt of learning, all right.
How does the stokvel fail? other than December time on Twitter, they have this running joke every year December time where they'll post like the story of this lady who got robbed when she withdrew the stokvel money.
Yeah.
But they say she got robbed because Abamushaba or nothing
Yeah.
happened. Like she has a little scratch or a bruise. And then a month later, Reka Goloi.
Yeah. That's the treasurer, right?
Yeah, that's always the treasurer.
Look, the fail of the stokvel, and this is now perhaps even beyond mine, right? Is purely about how strong the key executives are, and how much weight and pain can they really carry? Because this is a community thing, and if you're not strong enough, strong to be a leader, strong to be challenged by your members, strong to look beyond just the money, chances of you failing, are there, and mine truly failed because I was still in corporate. I was trying to run this stokvel on an Excel sheet, and telling people just pay, not realizing it goes beyond just contributing. It's actually engaging. It's actually talking about your vision, your dreams, and making sure people understand. And the more they bothered me, is the more I'm like, no man, I don't have time for this, and then of course 3-4 months later it failed. Okay, sharp. But this didn't sit well with me. I'm like, I know that my family Stokvels has been running for 20-30 years and it's looking great. Stokvels took me to varsity. Stokvel, paid for my varsity education. So it really, really bugged me. Like, how can this master student, what we call academically inclined creative person that has done a couple of these business not actually get this one right? And that really bugged me. And when I then just said, okay, cool, let's go to basics. Let's go engage those who are doing it before us, who've been done before us, and realize what they're doing. That's when I realized that it takes a strong leader, it takes a strong group of leaders to sit down, write in the book what's happening, administration and all of that. But in following and observing, because now I went on observing mission of what we call successful stokvel, grocery stokvels, burial stokvels, the ones that traditionally I knew, 7 colors at home, we went and ate. I got to realize that they are mandated with this admin, they don't have the quality, the tools that I got to know when I was in the banking industry. I'm like, but this doesn't make sense. If we just remove this weight of these quality leaders, this thing can go beyond. And that's when creating value. So, okay, great. Let us remove this administration headache. And that's when apps are popping up at that time. So I said, cool, a tool. Let's create a tool, an app. We didn't just do an app off the bat. It was all these wireframes approach and saying, okay, cool. And my wireframes was like on paper, hey? I was like print.
The traditional way.
Traditional one.
Really like
page 1.
Yeah, so
page 2. That's how it started. It wasn't this beautiful wireframes that you click, because smartphones were not big that time, right? So that was the start of the journey, and of course, I mean, we've iterated. I think we've had 4 versions of the platform, to now getting something that we believe creates so much value. So. And of course, by doing that, we then realize that this is more than an app. This is more than just a writing and recording and connecting the financial, fintech, and administration approach. It's actually, once you lift and provide people with the tools, and the executives start to think beyond. The executives go, actually, now we have time in our hands. Let's think about that opportunity. And that's where the magic starts to happen.
Yeah. When did you realize that stokvels weren't just about, saving with the purpose of, say, a goal? Me personally, in family, I've seen stokvels be specifically for groceries or like specific life events or stuff like that. Versus, maybe stokvels could be, a tool for wealth building or even investment.
I think stokvels have been that quietly. They've been property stokvels, they've been investment stokvels, but we've not made them sexy. When we step into the field, we're like, how do we make this sexy? And I say that because the stokvel, my family stokvel, was starting to dwindle. with the younger generation not participating. Because now it's an old thing. It's for Bomagogo, the under the tree women who just contributing groceries, like you say. And then of course when you see these memes on social media, you see people with lots of groceries splitting money, as you described in the beginning. So our aim when we came in, we realized that it's not true. The narrative is not correct. There's this good stories of Stokvels that are doing great. Now, how do we bring that into light? So I guess that creativity of a marketing business started to kick in.
Of course.
Right? Is that how do you then change the narrative? And that's the first thing that we outlined. We said, let us first focus on, we understand that traditional Stokvels, the grocery, and they're still quite permanent and important and big, but how do we change the narrative? How do we segment the market and then focus on what we call visionary Stokvels? This is the guys that think beyond, because they are there, but they are not recognized. And that's the first thing that we went about doing it and said, okay, this is now what we need to do. We need to celebrate the property Stokvels, the guys that went and built schools. We have Stokvels that on our platform, they contribute and build schools in Limpopo, in rural areas for kids. They go buy nice apartments in Cape Town and they rent them out.
Oh, wow.
You know, so that's when we realized that the and also data led us, of course, right? The people that were contributing on our platform versus what we know that the market is saying, these guys are contributing a higher volume, higher threshold of ticket cash item, and versus what the typical Stokvel in the market is saying. And when we inquired, it's like, actually, these guys are more investment Stokvels. And it's okay, because if you look at the adoption of a technology or adoption of a product, you start with your novice, then you go to your visionary guys, then you go to your early adopters, late adopters. So we were seeing that basically happening in the business. So we were not unique. We were just realizing that people are adopting the technology based on where they are, who they are, what are their dreams, and so forth. And that's how technology gets adopted.
Yeah. You spoke about how in the beginning, you just wanted to solve the admin headache for the executive members that manage these Stokvels. When you think about what the version of the app that you built right at the
Please don't
beginning,
make me laugh, because I want to forget that memory.
but there's that like amazing startup metaphor about how if you are not embarrassed by your first version of your product, then you've launched too late.
I wouldn't try that now. But yeah.
When you think about what that first version looked like versus where you guys are now, what's that gap and what's that journey like?
Whoa. I mentioned that we had about 3 or 4 versions. So the first version was purely about just admin, just like, recording, like you're writing on the book, you're recording on the platform. And people just kept on calling us and saying, but I'm trying to put my money. Like, why are you trying to put your money?
Oh, wow.
So that's the pivot. Because we're like, and that's the beauty about going quick, fast, putting out something, is that the users will tell you what they want to do. And we're like, but you can't put money in this thing. You put your money at your bank and this thing is recording a book. Like, no, we want to give you money.
Oh, wow.
And this is where the penny drops. Like, okay, cool. How do we pivot very quickly, so the first version was purely about I think we were trying to keep it simple as best as possible, and I had come from a engineer BA background where I knew that you need to sort of do screen by screen by screen. Those papers helped us to realize that people are not explorer of a financial platform. They explore of a social platform, but a financial platform, people are scared to press because the money disappears.
Yeah.
Right. So you sort of need to take them through a step-by-step down a tree root approach and then take them back up again. So the first version was purely 3 buttons, press here, then go down, 3 buttons. Funny enough, the current version has gone almost back to that, but in more design slick way. And then of course the second version was more of, as technology improved and as we've pivoted to become a proper fintech solution, required a bit of KYC, know your client, all those elements, taking a picture of yourself, selfies, started to get it down that route. Then the third version where we started to say, how do we do also credit? This is when we were trying to figure out how do we credit. I think that third version, funny enough, people still liked it.
Oh, wow.
And for me, I'm like, that was not the this one that I believe we came up with is actually very user friendly, very intuitive. However, there is a difference. I read a comment one from one of my friends who lives in Dubai, who said they just recently moved to Dubai. Said that they are realizing that where there's your first world countries don't worry about educating and tech challenge, tech skill or tech barrier. People just adopt without that. Where here in South Africa, it's not only your tech, your app, it's or your platform. It's also educating. Doesn't matter what you do. You have to educate people about it. And then there's also a tech barrier around, data, the cost of data. There's so many things that we deal with before someone actually enjoys your platform. And hence why I always say to people that it's just a platform. There's way beyond than just the platform. The business itself is beyond pressing a button.
Yeah. So how do you earn the trust of people to say, I don't just want to do admin here. I actually want to put my money in. And more than that, I want to put other people's money in who trust me. And, obviously, because Stokvels have existed for so long and they've run in a specific way, there was definitely a formalized process, maybe not necessarily documented, but
no, there's always documented. Constitutions. Stokvels always at constitution.
How do you then move people from that analog world of like the document, the writing things, to say, okay, here's a tech platform. And you're speaking about it now somewhat, where you're saying there's an element of education you need to do to help people use the platform in the way that can really help them be empowered as well.
Yeah. So we went through multiple iterations and we still go back to the basic, which is we went back to it the past year. We realized that actually the basic, it's still TIA. This is Africa. And why I say that is this that we're having here right now, the warm body physical touch approach, right? So the first things that we did right in the beginning, we used to go to Stokvel meetings, where we usually actually used to present and people see us and say, okay, I see you, I hear you're a person. If I have an issue with this tech thing, where do I find you? And we'll tell them the address and then they would come to our offices. Funny enough, we still have people that come to our offices, just walk in and say, yeah, I see you on these nice Spotify.
But I want to make sure.
But I want to make sure. I want to make sure.
Tshepo.
Yes. And they always ask for Tshepo. For some odd reason. Tshepo is not stock. But so the first point of departure is that there has to be some sort of a feel touch, and you even see it from most of the tech platforms that have gone and done great things in the continent. Agent model, as they call it, someone to hold your hand and show you the platform. It's always a high cost in the beginning, and of course it drops as you go as people acclimatize to your product. So we do that, and we do that very well. I think the reason why we do it very well at StokFella is that we leverage off the executives being our indirect helpers, because we have a strong relationship with the executive. So when someone creates or someone starts a group on the platform as an executive, we pick up the phone. Hey, what are you trying to do? What's your dream? What's your vision with this group? And they will lay their heart towards us. And once they lay their heart to us, then we attach a process. Say, okay, now we understand what you're trying to do. Let's walk the journey with you to our best ability. Of course, you're still accountable and responsible to your Stokvel, but we become your Stokvel buddy in the background. We tell you already psychologically, because we've been in this game for quite a long time, what are the things you'll face and how to tackle it. And then therefore, you indirectly become our hand-holding, touching person. So that's one of the elements that's key to StokFella. And then, of course, we have events, Skula Sonke Roundtable, where we bring all our executives in one roof, and then we engage and we talk about the challenges. And by doing that, they become natural an arm of StokFella. And then, of course, people walk in and engage us, and we're happy with that. And then we have online sessions, And now and then, I say now and then, because we enjoy sitting down and eating 7 colors. We will still come and sit with the stokvel and have the 7 color. You must eat. When they give you a food of plate, you eat, and you watch the game. We especially like going when the soccer games, because we know we'll enjoy the soccer game and everything is good. So we earn the trust, basically. Seeing us, and also definitely when you call us, we pick up the phone. We help you through your problems on the platform. So, look, my member says they did a payment, but they can't see the payment. Okay, no problem. Let's call the member. Member, you did a payment. Find that they used the incorrect reference. Right? And then we walk the journey. Say, okay, what did you do on your own banking platform? And then you find that people, they don't know how to use their own banking platform.
Sure.
So we even got screens of other people's banking platforms to try to educate. Say, no. That's when it says beneficiary reference, it means it's the reference that we give you so the system can pick up
where this should go.
Where it should go, because the word beneficiary is very
heavy.
Loaded. It's loaded. It's a loaded word.
Yeah.
And those are the things we learn is no, we need to bring it down to how people, financial literacy, simplicity.
Yeah. My favorite thing personally about Stokvels was always that there was lovely food. I knew that if the stokvel is happening, please call me.
Please, me and you. That's why I said we love coming, because we know Chisanyamar, 7 colors is no doubt we'll get it.
I feel like this personal touch to building a technology business is very African in its nature. How do you still scale a fintech business when you have to do things like this, where it needs to be in touch? It needs to be, almost a hand-holding process to help people be able to use the platform and be empowered with it, but still be able to, live up to the startup mentality of building fast and growing as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so let's first start by saying that there's multiple statistics out there around building fast and scaling fast and all of that stuff, right? And you have to realize, I guess, is that the longer you're in the game, the more likeliness you scale. Right? Statistically is there. Not everyone scales in the first 3 years, 2 years. I think we must be realistic. Some business scales after 10 years, after 15 years, maybe because they were very early in the market and people still need to come. People look at Netflix now, but Netflix was there for quite a while.
Yeah.
We might as well not have known about it, but they were delivering actual DVDs and via post. So you're going to have to ask yourself the environment that you're in, the time that you're in, what does it mean growing your business physically and digitally? So that's the first point of departure. But from a scaling a business, I guess that's what you're asking me, in a physical world, what does it take, right? The beauty about COVID, it allowed people to trust via video. That I'm talking to someone that's real over the other side. I think that's the beauty that gave leverage to a lot of businesses that are tech, because then people had no choice but to trust, or at least to open themselves up to that. So a lot of groups that we engage with that are not in Gauteng, because we're mostly based in Gauteng and Western Cape, that video does wonders. We ask them to log in the evening. Particularly, we start with the executives. We say, hey, log in, guys. You guys are the leaders. Log in and let's conversate, basically. And that's the beauty about it. And then, of course, like I said, we also have an agent model where we get people on the ground to go and actually, visit Stokvels, chat to Stokvels, and show them certain ways and things on how to do things, how to contribute, how to withdraw, how to claim, and also the beauty chat. These group chats are platform. We build a chat platform that actually guides you, so you can ask your questions. So leaning slightly on AI in terms of ability for you to chat to NOMSA. We call her NOMSA. And NOMSA is there to help you. Oh, you're stuck here. Do this, do that. And NOMSA gives you a nice PDF designed or nice animation of what to do on the platform. So those are the elements that we do at StokFella, because you have to educate. You have to hold people's hands. But how do you do it in a technological way that's not heavy. And those are the elements that we use.
Yeah. What are some of the misconceptions you had to challenge and
Myself.
how people? Oh no, no, we'll get to that part.
Okay.
What are the misconceptions you had to challenge about how people see Stokvels, but also see Stokvels with investing as well?
Yeah. So the biggest misconception, it's always like abokoko. It's just old people that do stokvels. That was the biggest first one we needed to challenge. It's like, no, stokvels can be sexy. Stokvels can be for people that want to do more and be more. And then when you dive deep into the statistics, you realize that even people that in corporate are actually doing stokvels. Executives are doing stokvels, senior managers doing stokvels. It's just a way of how people are when we want to achieve something, we come together, community coupled living. So we had to challenge, because if you just look at the media prior hour, and I'll say prior, but I believe we made it sexy in South African content. Prior to that, if you looked at the media articles and stuff, it was just stokvels were just for groceries, old people.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about you can actually buy an Uber car. You can actually buy you use that Uber car to generate income. You can actually buy a cow and use that cow to generate income. You can buy land. It wasn't in that level yet, and we needed to open up that level. You can actually buy a franchise store. During the peak of COVID, we got to experience that, where we got a group of individuals coming together to buy franchise stores, basically.
Sure.
So and that to us, never been done before, first time being done, painful as yeah. But you go through it and you realize, and one of the things that we showed, it's possible. If you do put the right opportunity and vision in front of people, they will do it. They will come together and they will contribute towards that common goal. And of course, contributing towards a common goal of having a business and running a business are two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going through this journey of designing this platform with your users, having the community be part of what you're trying to build, because they are the ones telling you the problems that they have and how they want you to solve them as well. What are the things that you were learning about yourself in the entire process?
I know nothing to a certain degree, of course. First of all, the first thing you need to learn is that users will tell you, right? But you also must be clear what you take and what you park on the side. And I say that is that if you're still a business, so you need to distill what's important, what the user tells you at that point in time, because you can't just go ahead and design every single thing, because sometimes what the user's telling you now is it's only one user, is not 1,000 users. All right. So you need to be clear that what am I getting now? Is it actually a bias because someone wants something, or is actually so those are the things. How do you distill bias basically from your users telling you what they want and what is realistic for you to do as a business, basically. So that those are the elements that one I was learning about myself is like, you can't please everyone. You have to be clear in your MVPs and approach, and of course you need to listen carefully. And as I went through this, the other thing I learned is that the sun will rise the next day. And I say that is sometimes you get to a point where you believe that I must do this now, and because if I don't do this now, things will go apart and die, right? And the truth is that the sun will rise the following day. You as an entrepreneur, your business is as good as you are as healthy and mentally prepared for it. Otherwise, the business dies. Remember, in the beginning, you are the business to a certain degree until you build systems and processes out the way. So yes, push yourself. Yes, go crazy, but realize that the sun will rise the following day. And in that instance, pause and take time. I think for me, the biggest step was that when the business started, I just got married, and then soon after that got a kid. So it was like hectic. It was hectic. literally I had 2 kids. I had the business and well, the marriage is still new. You could argue is also a kid as well.
Yeah.
So it's juggling all of that basically. And I had to sometimes make a calls like, look, I can't go to that Stokvel on a Sunday. Like I know Stokvels meet on a Sunday, but in this instance, I have to make a call. And when I look back, those are the good calls, because either those Stokvels never actually even came on board or actually see the value, or they saw the value and they still came on board because they understood when I said, hey guys or girls, I can't make it because of 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the other thing. And also, naturally, a lot of people when we started said to us, especially when we pivoted to become this platform that takes funds, they said to us, how are you going to make sure that people don't blame you that money went missing and all of that? Look, it still happens today. But I got to realize that people are honest. 95, 98% of people that come to our platform are actually honest people that want to do something. The world is not full of bad people. It's just the bad people do a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And
it gets amplified.
And it gets amplified, right? But I can tell you right now, I can count the incidents on my hand, literally, that happened on the platform where it was also slightly a bit of ignorance from the members, right? Because the platform is very transparent. It sends notifications to all members. It reminds you of your meetings. If a transaction happens, it notifies all members. We have a rule at StokFella saying, even though the transaction has been made, we give it 24 hours for the members to actually breathe in and actually they can come to us and say, we didn't approve this transaction. That treasurer that's trying to run away with the money, if the members are awake to their Stokvel and they care about their money, it doesn't happen on our platform, because they'll say, no, we don't know this thing. The executives didn't engage us, and therefore we will then pause the transaction, go into the system, and then say, executives, engage your members, right? So, but like I said, handful. Majority, what I've got to appreciate about our people, is actually they're really trying to do something different for their lives, and they really are honest people. And then when they are challenged, or when you are challenged and say, hey, look, we're having a bug in our system, so we can't pay out now because we're trying to figure out what's happening, whatever it is the situation, they truly understand. If you talk to them as Ubuntu muntu ngawathu, beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. How do you keep yourself healthy? But on the other end, how do you make those calls, right? Like, I appreciate you saying, the marriage was a kid itself. And you had 2 kids. But you have this business that you're trying to, very much, you are dedicated and committed to it. How do you make those calls between, what is the most important thing in that moment? And then the other part is like, how do you keep yourself healthy?
So how I keep myself healthy? A 7-year-old and a 3-year-old make you run around a bit. But I think right in the beginning, I've at least I slump in and out of it. But at least in the year, I'll go back to the gym. And mornings, I'm a morning person. Really wake up in the morning, dedicate myself to my religion, read the Bible, and then off to either walk or run or do something. So try to keep the mind and the body healthy as best as possible. I'm not perfect, but it's one of the things that has always been there in terms of engaging from a healthy perspective. But I won't mislead you. Every day my daughter wants to play. And I appreciate those moments, because I know that they are far and few in between, because I get home very late. But Saturdays or Sundays, I try to engage myself with it. So keeping that. How do I make those calls? Look, my wife makes the calls for me.
An honest man.
Hey, you are taking the kids right now, but that support structure is very important. So first and foremost, so some of my lead exco would say is that when I get a call from my wife or everything, I stop everything. Doesn't matter who's around the table. I'm like, sorry guys, I'm getting a phone call. So family first. And it's important for me that way, right? I don't really want to sacrifice. They're already sacrificing for me. to do this thing. I don't really want to sacrifice them when they ask me to do something. So I always say is that when that call comes in or that question comes in, I do that first, and then because I know when I do that first, everything is taken care of. I can run my race. And also I try my best to say once a quarter, just switch off, go away in my own corner, and just really, really think and really, really ask myself, the calls that I've made in the previous quarter, did it make sense? Or in the previous month, did it make sense? Could have I done better? Have coaches, have mentors, that will tell me, did I do the right thing or not? I think the biggest thing you can do as an entrepreneur, get someone that will be honest back to you. Go to your networking session with other entrepreneurs, like share the codes and so forth, where you can engage and realize that you're not alone. There's other individuals like you mentally that are really challenged with the same thing. You might have an app, but I can promise you'll be challenged with tech, with cash flow. You'll be challenged with humans.
Building a team,
humans, values. People have different values. You have to build what is the value of your business, and how do those values of individuals link back to your business? Because and how do you make sure the purpose is aligned to the human purpose? So those are the things we look for when we try to get someone into our team. Is, do you have the same purpose? Do you have the same values and vision and what you're trying to achieve? That's a business, right? And someone pressing the button is all is cumbersome of all that's happening in the background of you getting a great platform, or you picking up the phone and talking to someone who talks to you, because there needs to be a process, a script. So keeping myself healthy is my family, my kids, and checking out sometimes. Like, just check out. Like I said, the sun will rise. Might seem it might not, but it will. Check out. And then when it rains, come back, you'll pick it up again and run with it.
What would you say is a value that has contributed the most to you being able to sustain this for as long as you have and face the challenges that you have? But also, similarly, the value that you look for in the team members that you're bringing into the company?
Collaboration. It's one of our biggest value, collaboration. And the second one is trust. It's also one of our values in the company. So we need to trust that. We need to trust that when we give you a task, we can sleep. You got it covered. So trust is the biggest element. And why is also biggest element? It's also biggest element in the people that we serve. They trust us with their 100 Rand, their 50 Rand, their 1,000 Rand, that when they log into the platform, one, it won't go around and round and round and round. The next thing is disappeared.
Yeah. I'm coming to that office.
So trust when they do log in, because people literally, it's the same pattern. Every new group that comes to us, the first 3 months, those members are logging in every morning. Like, it's the same pattern, right? So trust is the most important part. So trust that we know that when we give you a task as a teammate, you got it covered. Like, we don't need to think twice about it. And collaboration, again, goes back to Stokvels are there because each member has something to collaborate or give into the group. So that's also what we look at. I mean, it's our number one in the company, that you can't do it alone. You have to collaborate with one another. You have to help one another. And that's why we look for someone who's willing, even though you're knee deep in your deliverable. When someone says, I need help, you don't push them away. You lift your head and say, okay, how can I help you? In that moment, it could be a spark for you as well that's knee deep in trying to deliver something. So those are the two major values that we live by, that definitely I live by as well as StokFella. And yeah, I've got my own personal one, respect. Doesn't matter you're a cleaner. It doesn't matter you're a car guard or a guard. You will always learn something. In fact, someone said to me that, you might be passing a car guard or a security guard. That security guard in his church is a leader, is well respected, commands, the people putting money into your platform. So respect anyone that I engage, that we engage. It's respect, whether it's an Uber driver, whether it's a you have to treat them with humility and respect, and realize that actually they might be your client, as traditional stokvels would be. Yeah.
You know, the platform itself and StokFellas in general are all community based, but the business is also very community based. How has your community contributed to the growth of you as an entrepreneur? And who have been those people? You know, you mentioned coaches and mentors and, you know, a network. And it's like all these people that come together to try and help you be able to do these things are so important.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start with at the foundation of the people that drive me is it's family from a point. So definitely the people that have contributed towards me doing what I do is my family, my wife, my mother, and my aunt. I'm talking about women, particularly, right? You'd be amazed how women carry the country in South Africa. 60% to 70% of successful stokvels are women. You know, so I've realized that if we actually want to make the change, you have to give kudos where kudos are. Not saying men are terrible, unless they're doing trade wars.
I mean, what a time we live in.
It's a time we live in. But what I'm trying to say is that if you give a woman a rand, it gets stretched. And yeah, biggest contributor to where I am today. And then having people such as yourself, Mashudu, it's people such as Slebocho, people that, I mean, I've known guys that have always been in the game, and you always say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Give me an idea, you know, am I sounding correct? Those are your coaches, your own friends that will tell you and call you out. Basically say, no, this is wrong. This is how you go about doing it. Or at least, have you thought about it this way? To get me to where I am today, and of course I touch on coaches. Anton Russell, one of my favorite coaches that has coached me before. Sheldon Delport. The ability of them saying to me that actually, Tshepo, the sun will shine tomorrow. Guys that always bring you back. That says, we know if you don't take a break and stop, you won't wake up the following day. Right? And I say that because this thing, it's the heart, it takes you to the heart. You know, it digs deep. You need to dig deep to be an entrepreneur. When you're faced with a cash flow problem, it's the 25th of the month, you have no clue how you're going to play your stuff. It digs deep because one of the things you know people have put their best in it. And how do you remunerate them? So those are the things that the community around you helps you. That the stokvel community around you, the GNU around you helps you.
Of course. And it's all a collaboration.
It's all a collaboration, brother. It's all a collaboration. I was stoked when we had a GNU. I was like, yeah, now you're gonna see a stokvel in action. Now you're gonna see people actually engaging because that's how you build a community.
Yeah. What do you hope for the future of what StokFella will be? Yeah.
I think, everyone wants to be a unicorn. From a scale up, rest of the continent and so forth, right? So that's the first point of departure, right? We are a business, even though we're a social impact business. We're a business that needs to grow and beyond the South African borders. So that's the first. I'll get asked by my shareholders and stuff. Say, okay, where are we going, Tshepo? What's the next step? How do you raise in capital and all that stuff and grow beyond just the number base that you have and dominate South Africa? So that's the first departure. The second departure is, what we realize as StokFella, we've only built one element of the big puzzle. The second element of the big puzzle is building the ability for all these great things that stokvels do outside the platform to bring them in the platform. So we are now looking at launching the StokFella marketplace, where we combine saving and I'll call it spending or consumption or investing. So the marketplace to be launched in the next 30 days is where stokvels that save can actually buy all these great things, whether it's investing, such as buying a car and it being used by someone else, creating jobs, Great. So that whole blockchain tokenization approach, that's what we're doing. And we believe with that, those two elements, we'll be able to change people's lives beyond South Africa into the continent, across the continent, sub-Saharan continent. We'll be able to do that. So that's what I'm hoping. That will happen with StokFella. And the truth is that I don't think I'm an entrepreneur that will be there for life. In one, I'm a builder. I'm a builder, and we've built from zero. We're here. I'll probably build it to a part where it starts to grow to the continent. But I do think that at some point someone will replace me, as based on the shareholders' desires. That okay, cool. Someone else takes it over to the next level. Tshepo build the other level, a different level. Might be related to StokFella or not, but yeah, I'm that guy that builds. I'm a builder.
What's the biggest impact that you've seen StokFella have?
I'll tell you a story, which touched me. I was once on a TV show, a news TV show, very popular. That's like not a public broadcaster. Let me be specific, right? And I was talking, and we talked about how Stokvels can get you out of debt. You can be something out of it. And the show ended, of course. Fast forward 2 years later, I get a call, email, and this lady writes that I was watching you on this news show this time. When you said that, I was knee deep in debt. I didn't know what to do, and I decided to start a stokvel. And today, I'm out of debt. That to me, like touched me, like brought a tear to my eye. To like, we take this thing for granted, but when you're sitting in shows like this and you're talking about the power of the collective, and someone doesn't know what to do and grabs it and uses the power of the collective to get themselves out of debt and into a better position with their lives, that to me, it's like, that's, if there's any reason why I wake up, is to hear these beautiful stories. And it's not the only one. There's many I can take down that people say, look, I think another one is, this executive was literally about to run away with the money. And we then said, no, but the behavior, because the behavior of the stuff just didn't make sense. It was behaving like this, and suddenly it switched. Because one of the things about technology, we actually monitor the behavior of the stokvel. And then when we called the members, and they just didn't know anything about it, and there's a good R500,000, and they're like, no, actually, you saved us. So, and for me, it's why. It's the purpose that says, okay, Tshepo, get out of bed. Let's go do this thing. It's beyond you. It's ability for people to do more with the little that they have. Because 100 Rand for you and 100 Rand for me, when it's combined, is 200 Rand. It's more. It opens up a different opportunity versus my 100 Rand. Because that opportunity is 200 Rand. Together, we can access it. Individually, we can't. So I think that's perhaps the biggest value and impact.
And finally,
man, as you're not done, I'm joking. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
what is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you started this journey?
I'm going to say this very interesting, right? And maybe it's because in the country and the support and the environment that we live in, financing your business will be a challenge, right? And so if you're stepping out of a corporate job, as I did, and some individuals did, and you should take a risk. Make sure you've created what some people call them cash cows, businesses on the side that actually can finance you during your tough times, that you're not dependent on this thing that you're trying to build, because we're not trying to build another quick revenue generating business. We are building a business that is going to outlast us, outlive us, right? And has an impact on people, which now I know will take time, right? Not having a smaller spaza shop on the side, and I'm being very respectful saying this, is because those things generate cash. It's a product that everyone know. People buy from you. A soft drink is a soft drink. A porridge is a porridge. It generates cash. As long as you run it well and you have a good manager there, you will generate cash and it will pay you. Whether it's a transport industry, taxi industry, whatever it is, those cash generating businesses that we shy away from, and we want to start this shiny thing called StokFella that it's going to outlive, it's going to be
tech and it's startup and you need a runway.
The runway, yeah. So for me, the biggest thing that I know now before then is should have dedicated a bit more energy in creating that buffer before jumping through. Luckily, I had enough saving and stuff, and also luckily we got angel investors coming in. But I can tell you right now, not everyone is lucky as what we would be. If you don't have that cash generating business, you will be challenged. And I can tell you right, there are some businesses that we know, me and you right now, that look good, that I know those guys have businesses on the side, whether it's a property business that they're renting out and getting some revenue on the side, because they know that this is a long game. It's not we see these news of, $1 million, $10 million. Yeah, guys, that's far and few between within at least the country that we live in, and neither mind the continent that we live in. The country that we live in is that those checks don't just fly out. They take time to fly out. And you also need to show value and prove, particularly in an industry that no one has gone into, that no one has digitized, because people will stand there with their checks and say, okay, let's see how far you can go. Let's see. In that instance, you need something to hold your back. You need a wife that works a good job. If you don't have, you need something that really carries you, because it will be tough. I promise you, it's not going to be easy. It will be tough. So that's for me. If there's anything, one lesson I would say, if you're coming from corporate, do that. Create that go set up a puzzle shop at your parents' place, whatever it is, and then put it the right systems and process, and let it generate revenue for you while you then go towards your dream, because your dream will take time.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for inviting me, man.